How about sunshine?
Sunshine, sorry.
Acting President Cheryl, fellow Lions and guests. We have a card back here for Russ Blanchett's family. He was the past president in Castle Rock. Marilyn, is there anything more you want to say? Or
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests. Russ Blanchett has been known to some of us that have first visited Castle Rock Lions, and he was a past president. So his service, I believe, I forgot to print it up, June 18th, I believe at 2 o'clock at the Methodist Church in Castle Rock. And I will confirm that date if I'm wrong. Thank you.
And as far as I know, then there's nothing else. And obviously, we're glad to see Sherry. She's been here the last couple of times. So
Absolutely. Welcome, Sherry. Okay, now the tail twisters.
Oh, well, hello, Lion. Isla may or may not. Hi, this is a happy buck. Madam President, Acting President, Madam Acting President, fellow Lions and guests. I just want to thank all the people, or I should just say men, who participated in Free the Knee last week. I thought a good time was had by all. Stay tuned because there's more in store.
Oh, yes. Oh, Lion Dwayne.
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, I have a happy $2 bill. Nice Christmas. Going on vacation for 3 weeks, going on a cruise up to Alaska.
Moving right along. Hello. Hello, Lion Karen.
President Sharon, well, Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions members and guests. I have 2 happy dollars here. Rick and I went to the preschool graduation for our little grandson last night, and it was so adorable. He sang his little heart out. So that's $1. The second one, he wanted his graduation party at El Ranchero, but he fell asleep on the bench of the seat before he got his dinner. So we had a good time anyway.
Oh,
That was Rick that fell asleep?
I kept poking him.
Past District Governor Mark Kelch. He has his list.
I came prepared. President-elect Sharon, fellow Lions and guests. First dollar, I don't know if it's really happy, sad, kind of mixed dollar. She had a long life. My Aunt June Kelch passed away this morning early at Great Bend, Kansas. She was a longtime matriarch of the family farm that my father had grown up on. We had an opportunity for a last-minute getaway. Found out our son was going to be off, in theory, 7 days, so we booked 4 nights down at the beach and got away last week, which was nice to get recharged, kind of our favorite place. On a cringeworthy note, for those of you like Greg Firth and Mike Parker that were been in Lions for a long time, and remember when my daughter was like 7 or 8 working in concession stand, she turns 42 this week. Not to age you or anything, but and just before quote of the week, we can probably get confirmation from this perhaps by David, but the scariest thing to read in Braille is probably, warning, do not touch. Quote of the week from Benjamin Franklin, life's tragedy is that we get old too soon and wise too late.
Well, thank you. Sort of Lion Tom, would you like to stand? And the minute he stands, I kind of feel like I'm shrinking.
Tail twisters, take a break.
Right when I get to Tom.
Take a break. Okay. I was asked last week to get the buttons, and the greatest button salesman in the world was who? Al Mortallero. And he's here today. So, with no, he's going to put a bag in front of everybody on the table. And with that said, It's $2 a button and there's 10 buttons in a bag. So if you're interested in supporting, there's 20 bucks. So put it back in the bag and I'll pick the bags up later. You may do that.
Right here.
Now that we're back.
I'm going
Hi,
to
Tom.
as soon as I find one here. You got one? There it is.
Acting President Sharon, Lions, yes.
Thank you.
For those of you who do not know, Oregon State Baseball is in the Super Regionals. So you're probably gonna get sick of me wearing this Oregon State shirt. I'll be wearing it until they lose. But yeah, go Beavs.
Thank you, Tom. Past District Governor Marilyn.
We're going to invite the archery team.
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests. I don't know. That's a mixed dollar. It's good to be back from last week. Last week and the week before, we kind of had a little pneumonia going on at our house. And then I turned around and a feral cat decided to take my cat out. And so I had to go to emergency that same week, last week. And he received a little shave and a fill treatment for several bites. So now he goes outside looking to see where that cat is, so we're not letting him out too much. I don't know, that's a good dollar for you guys.
Okay, Nurse Marilyn. Past District Governor Steve, do I need to clean this off after you speak? Are you okay?
All is good, all is good. Acting President Sharon, two happy dollars today. The first one is, yes, I indeed am glad to be back. Pneumonia is not the funnest thing to have, especially as you get a little bit older.
You look a little shorter too.
And a little shorter. And the other happy dollar is I'm going to give the mic to Karen so that she can properly introduce our special guest today.
Thank you, Steve. But I'm going to be doing that right before the guest speaker is introduced. But thank you.
You got to read the agenda. Past President Cindy. Yay, Cindy.
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, I have 5 happy dollars once again because it's sunny outside. My garden is thriving. For those of you on Facebook, I did a little video of my garden area and my flower area, and it's kind of my retreat. It's kind of nice and peaceful out there. Of course, I'm rocking out to AC/DC as I'm relaxing, so kind of ruins that, but you know what? To each their own.
Rocking and relaxing. I'm working on that one. Okay. Anyway, going over here to Lion Greg.
President Acting Sharon, fellow Lions guests, happy Buck. Youngest granddaughter graduates on Saturday. Had a real nice graduation party for her Sunday. And everybody made it.
And Lion Greg reminded me before Mr. Passo and Chair Steve stands up that you had a birthday, and so did Cheryl Coast. So, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm going to let you get away with that.
I don't hear anything. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, that's enough. All right, now you can stand up past zone chair, Steve.
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, I got $5. There's kind of a mixture. One's happy that I'm back. This last couple weeks been not good, and my wife was down with it too. And like I say, just glad to be back here.
Well, thank you. Moving down here to Lion Penny Piper. Penny Piper, Penny Piper. Oh, sorry.
She likes my name. Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests. One happy dollar for, we were in San Diego for 5 days and had a wonderful time at our granddaughter's graduation. It was like going to they had, what did we decide, 450 kids in their class or something. It was a lot of kids. But anyway, and we only, of course, knew one. And then the other happy buck is, just prior to us taking off to go down there, we found out that our youngest son had eloped and gotten married 2 weeks ago. So, so now you know everything we know.
I'm passing it down to Lion Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob.
President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, this is kind of a sad dollar. I was gone Friday for the carnival sales and everything went fine. So I'm feeling unneeded. So I'll have to think about my future here. Anyway, thank you.
No, you're not done yet. Oh, Lion Spencer, Mayor.
All right, I bet you're all so glad to see me and hear me today. The first, oh, I'm so sorry. President-elect Sharon, Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests. First dollar, that's a ding on me because I forgot that. Second dollar, as you can hear, my voice is a little messed up, but it's back. I was down to a squeak. I called Eric in the morning. Did I leave you a voicemail? I don't remember. No, I was gonna give everybody my RFK Jr. impression, but it recovered soon enough. First thing to cover, who's been out to the park lately? Who's been in Civic Center Park? This week? Anybody? Around it? Get out and walk around on foot. You know why? It's clean. It's clean and it's safe and you're on camera. Eric and I will be there. We'll be your tour guides. We were caught frolicking in the sun yesterday morning. So happy to be here. Happy to see everybody. I got extra ones. I don't need them. Well, I owed Eric $5, but I don't want to give it to him. So there you go.
Thank you for your contribution. Oh yes, another past zone chair, Terry Woodruff.
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, one happy dollar. My daughter flew in this weekend, and boy, her arm's tired or whatever. Yeah. But anyway, she was in here Friday unfortunately for a funeral. One of her best friends' father died, so there.
Sorry to hear that. Okay, PCC, Hal.
Hey, thank you very much, Acting President-elect. No, you're not an acting president-elect. You're president-elect, but you're acting president. Fellow Lions and guests. Yeah, whatever it is. I decided to rebuild this little utility trailer because all the boards were rotten. Yes. It took 8 hours to tear the old one apart, and it took less than 3 hours to put all the new wood on. Why is it that way? Better nails. As you probably can tell, my brother is home with a cold this week, or yesterday and today. So if you have any dues to give to anybody, give it to me and I'll get it to him. And I'm just so happy about being a Lion.
Thank you, Hal. Filling in for Pat. President-elect. Oh, I'm sorry. Back up. Lion George.
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions and guests, I'm going to try to keep this short and honest. But 60 years ago this month, I took my first job with U.S. Steel. With my second paycheck, I paid for the rent and deposit on an apartment for my wife to move into. And she always reminds me that my first paycheck went for a set of golf clubs. Because I was going to take up the game and play at the U.S. Steel League. And after 60 years of frustration, I'm talking about my golf game here, guys. I hit a hole-in-one Thursday in the City League on number 8 at Mid-Valley.
All right, excellent. Okay, and I believe finally, Acting Pres. Acting President.
First Vice President Rick said that George Rader should be fined for that.
Yeah.
Well, he just did a happy buck for it, so, but anyway, fellow Lions and guests, I have a happy buck. I just had it on my list here to mention that it was Steve Johnson's and Cheryl Coast's birthday, so that's my happy buck for their birthday.
Okay, miss anybody? I believe I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much, Tail Twisters. And Karen, would you like to come forward?
Hello, everybody. We had our scholarship luncheon, 2 weeks ago, and one of our recipients wasn't able to come, but she is joining us today. This is Sarah Stewart from Martin Norris High School.
Hi guys, I'm so grateful to be here and grateful to get that scholarship. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself and my future plans. I'm planning to attend University of Maryland to study political science and business with the ultimate goal of becoming a lawyer. So thank you guys so much for supporting me.
Get a picture if you guys want to just go ahead.
What do you call 500 lawyers? A good start.
Okay, and let them take the picture real quick. Might take a minute. Oh, wow. I think that deserves a fine.
That's $100 fine.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and congratulations, and thank you so much, Karen. Right? All right, and so we're going to move right along, and I'm going to pass it on over to our program chair, George Rader.
Thank you, President Sharon. Fellow Lions guests, Rick, I hope you have a comfortable couch. Yeah. More important is eating. I'm honored to be your program chair for June. I'm particularly honored to introduce our first guest speaker for the month, Dr. Matt Seimears. He's president of Lower Columbia College. Started in January of 24. I'm just going to give you a real brief intro because I've asked him to give us some of his background. It was very interesting and extensive before he gets into his formal presentation. But Matt is married. His wife's name is Lindsay. She's a professor of nursing at OHSU. He has 3 children, one at St. Rose, one at Kelso High, and one at Lower Columbia College. So at this time, I'd like you to help me give a warm Lions welcome to Dr. Matt Seimears.
Can I stand on this? Yeah, I'll stand right here. Well, thank you for having me be here. It's a beautiful day, and when I was asked to do this, I was excited about it. So I can just give you a little bit about my life's journey. I was born in Kansas and raised by, my dad was a glazer and cut glass, and my mom was a homemaker. And I have an older sister and little sister, and I'm the first in my family to go to college. And after high school, I was a MIG-TIG welder. So I worked in industry at a place called Keiss Industries, and I designed, built, welded, ground, crated, and shipped 3 products every single day for dust milling cleaning equipment for Nabisco. So I did that, and then I had a welder come up to me one day, Jerry Spivey, and he said, "You need to go to college. I read your drawings and everything." He said, "You're very smart." And I said, "Well, I don't know how to do that." And so he said, "Let me help you fill out a FAFSA." And so he got me into night school at Cali Community College in Kansas. Oh, actually, Butler County Community College, which is in Wichita, Kansas, on McConnell Air Force Base. And so I started that journey, welding all day, then going to class all night, and then one day just decided to go away to college and drove away. And my parents said, "Good luck. What do you think, this whole college thing's for the birds?" And so I just had my own support. And by October, I walked into the Vice President Student Affairs office and said, "I think I have to quit. I'm already out of money." And I didn't know how much. I thought at college you just paid for it. It covered the whole year. And so she goes, "What are you good at?" And I said, "I can build you anything. I can do whatever you need." She goes, "Can you do yard work?" And I said, "I can build you the tools to do yard work." And so I did her yard work for $35 a week. And that kept me in college. And so my journey after graduation is I became a teacher. So I taught 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade. And when I was a high school teacher, I was also a wrestling coach for 14 years. And I took my high school team to Great Bend, Kansas for the Great Bend Open every single year. So loved some farm communities. My grandparents were dairy farmers on my mom's side. My dad's side were dirt farmers. So grew up always with kind of that hard work ethic. So a little bit more about myself too. I got into higher education just by reading the Sunday ads and applied for a position at Emporia State University and got into higher education permanently. Then I was what they call a teacher of teachers. I taught future teachers how to teach kids science, biology, virology, parasitology, things like that. And then along the way, I just was put up by faculty into administrative positions, which I didn't want to ever do. I was a researcher, taught robotics. I taught college anatomy and physiology for pre-med majors. And so by 2010, I was pushed into the role as associate chair, which is like an associate dean in the state of Washington. Did that. I was the college rugby coach for 10 years and then became a department chair. And then 2019, I left Kansas for Oregon, and I was the new College of Education dean. And so I was living in LeGrand. I lived there for 5 years until I saw this ad. I was not going to leave. I loved it. I would move from dean to the provost. At a university, that's the academic senior vice president, so it goes president, provost. And saw this Lower Columbia College ad, and I'm like, this is everything I've ever done in higher education. It was a culmination of everything I've done and everything I wanted to do in higher ed. And so I applied, and there were 83 applicants, and it was a very competitive search, and someone must have lost a bet because I ended up here, and here I am as a president. I was never going to be president. So my parents don't even understand what I do. They just can't comprehend, what a president does. And so I don't talk about higher education at home because neither of my sisters went to college. So yeah, so it's been a singular journey for myself, but holding so many different roles, working in K-12 education, I understand the economic development component of life. And so when I arrived, some of the things that I knew that we could take off right away is, maybe I went too far, there we go. We know that some of the things that were underway when I became the president. So when there was a handoff of the baton from Chris Bailey and myself, I inherited a campaign that was set to go for 10 million at the time. And it's already hit 13.7 million. That's increased a little bit. And so we are on a very fast-moving pace foundation that helps student scholarships, first-generation students like myself. We gave out over $700,000 scholarships this year to students. So it's great. Our foundation work has helped us with many different modalities. We're going to break ground soon on an indoor batting complex for women's softball. And what opened my eyes a little bit about the community college aspect of Lower Columbia College, when I arrived, I didn't feel like there was enough community in our college. And there needed to be more community in our college. And what that entail is, we're going to start making some changes thanks to the gifts of people out there. Like our indoor batting complex is for softball, but we're going to open it up to the community for kids to hit during opportunities to rainy season. Right now, my 12-year-old has to go all the way to Vancouver to hit indoors. We're going to open that up for wedding events. We're going to open it up for meetings. We're going to open it up that it's just not Lower Columbia College's indoor complex. It's going to be state-of-the-art. It's going to be Division I grade like University of Oregon and Oregon State University. So we're really excited about that. We just, because of the foundation's work, we just put in new athletic workout equipment that you would find at Oregon State University. It's Division I workout equipment. So the pros of that is now our athletes work out on that equipment. So our foundation continues to grow, and it's a positive. What happens when we hit the $15 million mark? We have to rest. We just can't keep it cyclically moving. We won't stop, but we need to think about a new campaign. So we'll be reaching out to the community like, what should our new campaign entail at this campus that it embodies Cowlitz County, Longview community, Kelso, and so on. So student housing is top of my tier. So that's one of the lowest areas that we have is student housing. And we're working to improve that. I've got a task force team that's analyzing that. So, and also $15 million takes a taxing on donors. And when you kind of constantly ask, you can kind of wear down that relationship. So we need the donors to be consistently appreciated. We know that we're going to get in some new naming opportunities, especially with our baseball field complex that's coming. So we are going to have Mike Karnofsky, I don't know if you know Mike Karnofsky, and I had some great conversations like, we don't want to put a donor's name up and then every 2 years change that. You know, we'll have sponsorships in certain areas, but when we do a naming, the naming will be there to stay. And it'll be an appropriate piece for the naming. So our baseball complex, softball complex, and then also other abilities that we have here. So I shared with you scholarship. We've given away $722,000. I didn't get a scholarship in college. I don't know what I would have done if I'd got a scholarship in college. Now when Pell Grants came, I was able to afford college finally without putting out student loans in my debt. So we know these scholarships, there are some pros and cons to that number you see in front of you. It's how many students apply for scholarships. And at first when I arrived, we only had a 40% application rate, meaning application to completion rate. That's extremely low. This year, we've driven it to above 80%. So 80% of our students that are getting scholarships are finishing the application process. We still got 20+% or less, give or take a little bit, to complete that to 100%. We want to use up all the monies. We don't want it back. We want it to go to the students so we can lower that debt ceiling and we get closer to that process. So some of the awards we won the Pillars of Strength Large Business of the Year Award with the Crystal Apple Award. It's the first time we've won it since 2008. So this community is believing in Lower Columbia College because it's a community-based vote. And so it was just kind of like our Oscar. So we embellished that because of the community that we're trying to push back into and out of our college and more community involvement and decisions. How are we doing that? We're opening up our campus more for meetings. So many different areas and organizations are coming to our campus to meet. And we want to do that without charging them. We want people to come to our campus to host meetings. So we're having, the superintendents will be leading a 2-year leadership series on our campus. So the superintendents in Cowlitz and Waukegan County are going to have their administration come, and we'll be in a leadership series with them, my executive leadership team. So we want to open up leadership series for others to attend on our campus at almost no charge at all, so free. We are having safety summit events on our campus for the community in the surrounding area. So it's a really nice opportunity for all of us to keep partnering with Lower Columbia College. You know, when sometimes you're a community college, if you're not using space and you're walking through a building, it can feel like a tomb because you want that space filled with people, especially those in the community. So the expansion of the arts, we've seen a beautiful complex, we've seen debates held on our campus, political debates. That's great. We want to utilize our facilities for that. That brings the community to that campus. But we're doing it in the arts. And so we're trying to get our arts out there. If you look at the Kelso Longview Chamber newsletter, you'll see it's not all about me. You won't see me just talking about LCC. It's other individuals talking about the other things that are happening on our campus, especially the arts. So please attend our arts events. Okay, so let's talk about the Red Devils Excellence. So when I arrived, in 90 years, we hadn't had a trademarked mascot. So if you look at the LC on our hats, that's not ours. That's another school's. and they could make us take that off legally. So we've had a lot of different images through the years. So this year we moved towards more of a trademark identification of who we are. We took feedback, we put together a committee that spent 9 months working with athletics on what this logo, permanent logo, could look like. So we have now our permanent logo that's Lower Columbia College. And so we don't, because if you go to eBay and type in Lower Columbia College, you'll find all these different variations of mascots that were out there. And that's great. We're keeping that in our historical archive. We're not letting that go. You know, if you come to our baseball field, you'll see pictures of all the former coaches, and all of them have different logos on their hats. Well, when you think of Oregon State University, you know they are the what? Beavers. When you think of University of Oregon, the Ducks. And when you think of Washington State University, what are they? And UW is what? All right. Red Devils are, what are we again? So we've done that more forward excellence. Other things we're doing is we've now onboarded an athletics waiver. We can now waive the students' tuition up to 80%, and we're pushing it to 100%. That means we can recruit more students that can come through the LCC pipeline on a full ride instead of a scholarship. And we're working on how that scholarship blends into that. So Oregon was doing it, and I wanted to replicate that, so now we're doing it. The NWAC team, when you think of the NWAC, their office will now be on our campus. We're moving the commissioner of the NWAC and their entire team, they're going to now be in our county, on our campus, and in our facilities. So what's nice about that is it's like having the NCAA on your college campus, or the NAIA. It's one strategic move. We wanted to put them closer to us to not only protect our athletic portfolio, but also the NWAC as a conference as well. And we want to promote more NWAC excellence internally, strategically, and if we can do it in a way that's ethically, constantly, we can eventually expand our athletic portfolio. My ultimate goal on that campus, and I've talked until they've heard me many times, is to bring women's wrestling and men's soccer. And when we do that, we can expand our portfolio into our community. Kelso's women's wrestling, Mark Morris, R.A. Long, it's one of the fastest growing sports. We've already looked at the schedule at Evergreen State University, modeling that what we could do. So we bring more local kids from the athletic programs onto our campus. And so we're going to keep building that out. Other excellence, we won 2 NWAC championships. We won men's basketball the first time in 20 years. 20 years. Think about what you were doing 20 years ago. Took that long to win it. And then we just won women's softball, which went 48-0. And no team in NWAC history has ever had an undefeated season. We just won it 48-0. So the problem with that is, who's going to come poach my coach? And who's going to take those players? It's good for the players. Now they might go to Division I and play softball. They might head down to Oregon to Corvallis, or they might head up to Seattle to play. It's great for them. But maintaining that is challenging. Our baseball team was in the NWAC championship, but they just fell short from another NWAC championship. I'm proud of 2 NWAC championships. When you think about an NWAC championship, find a college that won 2 national championships in 2 different sports is very hard. So these coaches deserve an element of excellence beyond what they're doing. So one of the gaps we have with athletics is food. We find out our athletes have very low pocket money, and they don't even know how to cook. We've had to take our basketball players to grocery stores and show them how to buy food. Because they think eating is McDonald's. Well, it's $18, $19 per meal. And that's one meal. Yeah, they're 6'6". Yeah, I mean, so we've got to show them that a jar of peanut butter can go a long way. So we're teaching food science to them. My food in college were saltine crackers and free ketchup packets at McDonald's and Hardee's. That goes a long way. So yeah, so we're going to keep continuing this excellent portfolio in our athletics throughout the process. And we continue to do so. We keep building out different opportunities for growing, naming, and so forth like that. Next slide, please. There it is. I can retire, mic drop. We got our $45 million building. People think, well, that was easy. Like I have an easy button. It's taken over 11 years to get that building to land on our campus. And it took a lot of networking my first year to talk to people like, why are you in opposition to this? and there was opposition. So this building is going to bring $45 million to our economy. That's a lot of money. Now, if it depends on who gets the contract. But if you think about the taxing infrastructure, the equipment, the usage of buying fuel and buying other things, eating, if the crews come here and eat in town, we're bringing $45 million of economic development by putting that building in that parking lot. And that building is going to be different by the time we build it. When they first thought about it, it was the Center for Vocational and Transitional Studies. But is it really the Lower Columbia Institute of Technology? Or are there other opportunities for it? We're going to look at advancing our welding rooms, bigger sizes, our millwright opportunities, which is incredible. So we're going to rival Perry Tech. We're going to rival Texas A&M. I sent 2 deans down to Texas A&M and said, I want you to look at their new building. And they went down there, and it was paid for by a company that does robotics. And they paid for their flight and their travel to get down there. And when they got down there, they couldn't believe how Texas A&M took them in. But they said, a community college is doing this? Where are you at? And they were like, Washington. They were like, I want to go to school there. We're an R1. We're Texas A&M, the Aggies. And you're going to be doing what we offer, but at a third of the cost. So we're going to be launching some robotics, not robots that steal jobs, robots that help with automation, ambulatory ways of operation to get around. I've taught robotics 15 years. It's beyond that it's going to take away labor force. It's going to improve quality of life is what we're looking at too. You think about Rightline uses autonomous welders. That's a programmable robot. Da Vinci at Peace Health is a robot that operates on you. It can go 360 degrees at an additional 9 degrees, and it doesn't have those golfing putting shakes while they're operating on you. A friend of mine, Tom Watson, once told me. So yeah, I grew up with Tom Watson, but anyway, so he's a great guy, good golfer. But Da Vinci is a robotics lab we have right here at the hospital. So the problem with robotics is in 1980, the United States stopped progressing with robots. So other countries accelerated past us, Singapore, Germany. And so we've been trying to catch up since then. And most people think robotics in the military, we're looking at who can repair Da Vinci. Do we have to outsource the repair companies too far away when we can be putting students that are from graduating from that program into the repair services for automations at West Rock? They have paper rolling machines that is literally a robot that's operating that time. So we're looking at it as a bigger footprint of robotics and automation. We're teaching those students how to read a tape measure, how to show up to work on time, how to take criticism at work and not quit. We're going to reboot the way that kids go to the workforce and labor force that was once the way that we were driven into the workforce. Next slide, please. Community input for the vision of LCC. Beginning February 2026, we're going to begin our first strategic plan, literally in many years. We've had components of a strategic plan and a mission statement. This time we're really getting it kind of more aligned with the community. So we'll be reaching out to the community. What will happen is I would love to come back here after February 2026 and say, when you think of strategy for a community college in your area, what does it have to entail? Community partnerships. What should it have? Should we have the ability for retirees to come and take classes on campus? Should they have accessibility of the arts? What should it entail? So we're going to open up our strategic plan to community input. And then we're going to start our first strategic planning, sometimes called futuring, on what the next 5 to 8 years will look like for that community college campus. It's going to look like a lot different community college campus with the indoor batting facilities, the new stadium and field, and the stadium's going to be brick. It's going to actually have patios. It's going to have concessions underneath it. It's going to have different areas that you can sit. It's going to have actually astrograss or astroturf, that we don't have to maintain it with water and mowing it all the time and weeding it and putting heavy chemicals on that field. So it's going to have this new building that's going to sit and face outward outside of town. It's going to have different walking areas for people to come to campus and walk. We don't see enough of the community walk because of Sacagawea. Great. But we want people to come and walk our college campus that has full-time security on the campus. It's a safe environment. We always have security 24 hours a day on that campus. We want to bring people that it becomes their walking path throughout the campus every single day. And so once we get the input from the community, we'll actually be able to share what our strategic plan will look like in 2026. And it's going to be a benefit for us all. We're going to be listening. We're going to open up listening forums. Anyone can come and give feedback, give us ideas, thoughts. That way it's actually a community-driven strategic plan. Built by the community, for the community. And that's ideal for those types of modalities. I don't know if that's my last one. Yep. So last slide. Other things that we're doing, our enrollment is up over 64% over 3 terms, the first time since 2016. When I first arrived, I said, why are we doing things this way? And started moving some kind of clogs in the arteries so that we could flow. We have an area called One Stop. Those students can get in there and get one stop of anything they need to know to get into a classroom. We are an open campus. That means you don't have to take tests, exams, and you don't have to have a restricted GPA to start taking classes at Lower Columbia College. That way it's an open campus. And we'll work on the student. If they struggled in high school, get them back to us and we'll give them the resources they need. We're advancing our Running Start programs, which is high school on our campus, our college and high school programs, and then also what we're going to do with our new building, as I've shared this with the superintendents, I want high school students to take classes in that building taught by a high school teacher. So we're getting them out of their high school and maybe they can start taking night classes taught in our state-of-the-art facilities for high school kids. And so we can build that back in the community. So I'm opening up for questions.
Hi, thank you.
Yes.
I, for one, have been operated on by Da Vinci for major surgery. And it was really wonderful. You said you were going to train students to be able to fix Da Vinci-like devices.
Yeah.
Do you have a time frame? Has it already started, or? That's not where I had my surgery.
Oh, that's good. That's a great question.
But thank you.
We just hired the faculty member this week that's going to teach that program. So we had those conversations and they're going to build the curriculum. And in that's going to be automation and repair and what they could do. It's people think it's very complicated science. Think about if we had each school district equipped where every kid built their first car. They could work on it. They could work on their own vehicles the way it used to be. You used to repair your car when it broke. You used to change your own tires and things like that. And so when I started robotics, we would have them build their robot, and that way they could work on it when the robot was no longer functional. So we got to look at what that would entail. We're going to have to set tiers, like tier 1 would be like this level of robot, and so forth, to get them kind of engage with the engineering major process to get them equipped to that. Can they leave our program and be fully equipped? We don't know that yet, but we need them to understand what type of components they would need to know to get a robot like Da Vinci operational again. Because when Da Vinci's down, you're going back to the standard surgical processes. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So it can hold up, not only in the medical field, but food services, labor force, anywhere that we use automation. We use automation with our phones. Now we used to use maps, McNally maps. Remember, you used to look at a map and try to figure out where you go and stop in. Now now your phone tells you where to go. That's artificial intelligence. It might tell you when to wake up. You know, it might put stuff on your screens that you weren't looking for. You went shopping once and all of a sudden it becomes these cookies that drizzle everything. That's robots every single day. So yeah, we're working in that direction.
Thank you. I really appreciate your presentation. 2 things. We have students that are 12 to 18 years old in our Lions. They're called Leos. Oh. And one of the Leo clubs up in the northern part of the state of Washington had a robotics team that they did something in water. Would you say that that is a preparation for knowledge and understanding of the robotic programs that can lead them further into a career?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a robotics competition in Kansas. I started in 2009. It was the largest free robotics competition for grades 6 through college. And it grew to have 49 teams and 400 kids in it. And the schools, I got them the robots kit, they built the teams. But it built these kids into the opportunity to build a robot, operate the robot, and do things like it was kind of like a tsunami hit the nuclear power plant and you had to go extract items from there using your robot from blind driving or put cameras or iPads on it. So it was a very strategic piece. And in 2010, a company called Pittsco Education flew me to Virginia to present my concept to a place called Skills USA. And they were like, well, we're never going to get robots in there. Why would we ever? We do certain attempts with high school kids. Now, if you go to Skills USA's curriculum for Mission, Rescue, and Search Middle School, I wrote that manual. So I wrote the robotics manual for all of those, and then Carnegie Mellon wrote the robotics manual for Lego Storms, Mindstorms robot kits, and the NXT3 bricks, which are Legos in front of the hands of kids that they're using Raspberry Pi to program robots around their home. So it's a building block. And it builds into so many different successful modalities. We're going to tie robotics into our computer science degree. And to give you an idea of what kind of jewel you have in this area, our curriculum for our computer science degree was written by an Ivy League college called Carnegie Mellon University. And so our students at a community college will be learning Ivy League curriculum. Doesn't mean it's going to be too rigorous, but it's going to be the quality of that. So those are the building blocks. You'll see those high school and middle school kids get up. By the time they get into high school, they'll have a familiarity of what it's like. Exactly. You know, it's a concept when you think of like the Second War, the Sherman tanks. They were built like John Deere tractors so they could work on them in the field. A Panzer tank had to go all the way back to Nuremberg or Munich to be repaired. And the Sherman tanks, you could repair the things, and that's what we're teaching kids is they can repair the product that they're learning about later in life and the concepts. So yes.
Thank you.
Great question.
On another just quick comment, I just want to thank you. Actually, I thank LCC for the opportunity for our daughter. When she was in her early 20s, she was attending LCC to get an associate's, and she played volleyball.
Oh, wonderful.
They were the first NWAC volleyball team to take.
Oh,
and I know that they are in the Hall of, what do you call that?
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. The other thing is that our daughter, Stephanie, the same girl, went back to college at LCC into the nursing program. And she completed her quarters in last January. And she has achieved a position in Tacoma at St. John's Hospital. She has a 2-year residency. And
Wow.
so that's very impressive, and I know it has a lot to do with her drive, but also LCC's nursing program.
Yeah,
So
that's wonderful.
thank you very much.
Well, you know, the nursing program has produced so much excellence. I'll give you an example. The robotics lab at Peace Health is managed by an LCC graduate who was a nurse and graduated from a nursing program, is now managing that lab. So it's fantastic.
I just got one question. When are we going to see Lower Columbia University?
Well, do we want to go there is the first thing. We could. I mean, we now have 4 bachelor's degrees, and we're producing bachelor's degrees. It's more affordable than going away.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Maryland. It's great. I've been there. I played rugby there. So, yeah, I was a college rugby player. So we'd go up there and play in the old, it's called the Sunday Club. So go away to college. But if you can afford to do your bachelor's degree here, then go to Oregon State University, get your master's in engineering. The affordability level is much lower. Could we convert to a university? I don't think it'd be that hard, but we'd leave our system systematically. So we're in a system of 34 community college and career and technical colleges, and we're managed by a state board. I'm not managed by a state board, I'm managed by a board of trustees. Mm-hmm. And so it would be an interesting financial maneuver on where we'd get our funding. Would we go into the same model as the Cougars and the Huskies in Central and Eastern? Possibly. But right now they've taken the hardest hit financially with cuts, is the bigs and the mediums, and we've been a little bit here and there, but there are major benefits to moving to that model. And we'd be an affordable university model if we could maintain the funding structure. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I think most of us, not just in this room, in the community, that really are forward thinking and future thinking, see the benefit to our community, and the key to growing the future of our community is the continued expansion of LCC.
Oh yeah, we could.
You know, not to say all college towns are fantastic, but it's
oh yeah, it would
brings jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Brings young people stay here, they start families, they build our community and expand it. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for choosing here.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
It's fine.
Well, thank you for the program. I think a lot of us attended LCC at one time or another. I know I majored in pinball, got pretty good at it. But with all the expansion going on and future expansion, are they building a parking garage?
We're working, well, so we're gonna have to take a parking lot offline to build that building. So we're already working on the parking shift, but there's gotta be other opportunities for us to look at areas to park. You know, I mean, could we ever work with the city on a condemned building and make that a shared parking lot and students pay? Yeah, we could look at partnering with the city for other parking lot opportunities to do that. But parking garage, that's outside of my code expertise. We have talked about it, but we know right now when you drive through LCC on Mondays, the streets are full of cars. That's a good sign. Our enrollment's up. But we don't want people to get tickets. We don't want people to park in front of community housing, and just kind of that will backfill and spill that over into Louisiana Street and things like that. So we are pinned inside a city, which is great for our baseball complex because it's like Field of Dreams. All of a sudden you see a stadium and a field and driving by, but we are going to have to reshift where our parking has to be. We know we have a lot of parking with Head Start, and we want to make sure the families have first accessibility to that. But other than that, we hit neighborhoods real quick. So could we do it? Absolutely. I don't know how high we can go, but we're starting on that conversation as of yesterday. In the afternoon, we were working on what that could entail. Yeah. So. Thank you. And did you all know George is a former board of trustee? Yeah. So a lot of the excellence I inherited didn't come from George. No, I'm just kidding. It did. I had to joke with George back. No, it did. We're still using policies and language in our mission statements that were developed when they were on the board. Stretch goals, things like that that you and Steve, Vincent, and the rest of the group are working on, and Max Anderson. So when you think that their board of trustees tenure ends, it's still thematically woven through the entire process of the campus. So you think I show up and I'm like this miracle worker. A lot of that, you knew the building was coming for years, and they were part of the new science STEM building, and so a lot of Rose Center. So a lot of that is from former excellent Lions like George.
I have one quick question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Years ago when I worked at NORPAC, I did a couple of classes on just basic pulp and paper making.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to take that avenue and stuff, do you guys still offer that with all the pulp and paper?
You know, it went away, and I have asked the question is, well, I went to Pittsburgh State University in Pittsburgh, Kansas, no H at the end, gorillas. And so we had one of the top national programs for wood technology, but we didn't have forests, but it was waiting lines to get in. But those guys all left and went to the Pacific Northwest to do the leadership role of wood technology. We have to bring back some type of wood application, pulp kind of work for a timber strong society, which is the Pacific Northwest. And I was shocked that we didn't have it recently, but we used 2 years ago. Yeah. And some of those programs, they often sunset because they don't get marketing attention, or faculty retire and you can't find expertise or content experts to teach in it. That's one of the most challenging components, is finding the content experts that can teach in those areas. Yeah. So yeah, we're looking at what that could entail, and we're going to start with the new building on what would that be like for the needs. And I've toured West Rock. I've toured so many different Right Line. I've toured other companies around here quite a bit to have them tell us, here's the employee we need from you. You know, we heard at one, like, don't send us welders. We'll train our own welders. We need somebody who could do these 10 things right here. So had a dean in the room, took notes that we can develop into these programs for the workforce to keep the labor force here. Because what happens is if you have local kids that go to Perry Tech, they'll go to Texas after Perry Tech. They're not going to come back here. Or they're going to go to Nebraska, they're going to go to Missouri or other places like that. We want to get them to LCC and then get them to grow your own into the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matt, we have here one of our Pioneer Lions mugs that we would like to give to you, and thank you so much for what you're doing for LCC and for our community. Okay, we're going to be running just a couple of minutes late. We'll try to run through these announcements as quick as we can. Marilyn, let's start with Marilyn.
Okay, Marilyn, that's yours.
I'll make it quick. Next Thursday, June 19th, is our normal evening meeting, and this one is going to center around club officer training and committee chairs communication. So I'm going to be the facilitator, and I have a sign-up sheet. It would be great to know who might be coming, so that it gives me an idea of what to prepare for. We'll do this more next week.
So we broke down the street from Kirk Road.
Did we get it figured out?
That's what Coach did.
Okay. All right.
Somebody's
All
calling.
right, next, Bob Piper.
Hey, Bob.
President Sharon, fellow Lions guests. Like I said, we had a good day Friday. I wasn't there, so I guess it went well. This Friday will be our last one at Safeway. Yay! And 2 weeks after that, or a week after that. No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that is the car show for heaven. And that's all. Then we have 4th of July coming up, so be prepared. Thank you.
Get lots of rest, you're gonna need it. Okay, Cindy?
Whoa, where's Cindy? This way.
Acting President Sharon, fellow Lions guests, I have 2 announcements. One, we have the installation dinner coming up on June 20th, and we would like to have all those people that were nominated for the annual awards to be there. We'll be presenting those awards at that time. And I have the sign-up sheets with me here today, and you also have to prepay your dinner at $36 per person. And after this meeting, I'd like to have a cleaning the road crew meeting over here.
Okay, and next, Terry, Lion Terry.
Oh, that Terry. I'm looking around. Somehow I lost you. Sorry, Terry.
One Terry.
Where you went?
Yeah, President Sharon, fellow Lions guests, last week was our awards meeting, and as usual, nobody showed up. They were going to get the awards. But this week, someone was foolish enough to come back in. So at any rate, for Harold Malone, for Unsung Lion of the Month, for all you do with everything, stuff like that. Thank you, Harold. And he had to sit next to me too. So.
Rick is coming over to get a picture of you guys.
Oh.
Stay standing.
Stay standing.
But we're gonna, you can stand back up, Harold. Rick's gonna get a picture, but we're gonna move around along with the announcements. We have a board meeting coming up on June 12th at 8 a.m., Life Mortgage. And just as a reminder, July 1st, we will be having no Tuesday meeting because we will be busy getting ready for the 4th of July.